champion. José Raul Capablanca, Cuban chess player and world champion. Childhood and early adult career. José Raul Capablanca was born in Havana on November 19, 1888. According to Capablanca, he learned to play chess at the age of 4 by watching his father play with friends, pointed out an illegal move by his father, and then beat his father. At the age of 8 he was taken to Havana Chess Club, but on the advice of a doctor he was not allowed to play frequently. Between November and December 1901, he narrowly beat the Cuban chess champion, Juan Corzo, in a match. In 1905 Capablanca easily passed the entrance examinations for Columbia University in New York City, and in the same year he joined the Manhattan Chess Club, and was soon recognized as the club's strongest player. He was particularly dominant in rapid chess, winning a tournament ahead of the reigning world chess champion, Emanuel Lesker, in 1906. In 1908 he left the university to concentrate on chess. The birth of a champion. He achieved a sensational win at the Manhattan Chess Club in a match against U.S. champion Frank Marshall, crushing him by 8 wins to 1 with 14 draws in 1909 when he was 20 years old. In 1911 Capablanca played in San Sebastian, Spain, at one of the strongest tournaments in the world at that time. He astounded everyone by taking first place at this tournament with a score of 6 wins, 7 draws and 1 loss ahead of Rubinstein, Schlechter, and Nimzowitsch. In September 1913 Capablanca secured a job in the Cuban Foreign Office. He had no specific duties but to play chess around the world and promote Cuba. In 1914 at a tournament in St. Petersburg Capablanca met Lesker over the chessboard for the first time. Capablanca took the lead by 1.5 points in the preliminaries but lost to Lesker in the finals. Capablanca finished second to Lesker. After this tournament, Tsar Nicholas II proclaimed the 5 prize winners, Lesker, Capablanca, Alekhine, Tarish, Marshall, as grandmasters of chess. On top of the world. In the next 10 years, from 1914 to 1924, he lost only 1 game and the chess world was beginning to think he was invincible. However, Capablanca had to wait another 7 years until he could prove he was the world champion. Emanuel Lesker agreed to defend his title against Capablanca in 1920 but resigned his title in favor of the challenger as he no longer felt like struggling. He told Capablanca, "You have earned the title not by the formality of a challenge, but by your brilliant mastery." However, there was pressure from the chess world for Lesker to play Capablanca. Lesker maintained that as he had resigned the title already, it was he who was challenger to Capablanca. In Havana in 1921 the match went ahead, but it was a great disappointment to chess fans. Although 30 games had been planned, the match lasted for only 14, after which Lesker was losing by 4 games to none with 10 draws. He resigned the match on grounds of ill health. Capablanca was now the new world champion. The human chess machine. Capablanca won the London tournament of 1922 with 13 points in 15 games with no losses, ahead of Alekhine, Vidmar, and Rubinstein. During this event, Capablanca proposed the London rules to regulate future world championship negotiations. Between 1921 and 1923 Alekhine, Rubinstein and Nimzowitsch all challenged Capablanca, but only Alekhine could raise enough money. In 1927. In 1922, Capablanca gave a simultaneous exhibition in Cleveland against 103 opponents, winning 102 and drawing 1, setting the record for the best winning percentage ever in a large simultaneous exhibition. Capablanca placed second at the New York 1924 chess tournament behind Lesker, and ahead of third-placed Alekhine. Capablanca's defeat by Reddy in the 5th round was his first in serious competition in 8 years. In the New York 1927 chess tournament, 6 of the world's strongest masters played a quadruple round-robin. He finished undefeated with 14-20, winning the mini-matches with each of his rivals. Losing the title. In Buenos Aires, 1927, Alekhine, who had never defeated him, challenged Capablanca for world title. Alekhine had prepared well, and played with patience and solidity, and the marathon match proved to be Capablanca's undoing. Capablanca lost the first game in very lackluster fashion, then took a narrow lead by winning games 3 and 7, attacking games more in the style of Alekhine, but then lost games 11 and 12. He tried to get Alekhine to annul the match when both players were locked in a series of draws. Alekhine refused, and eventually prevailed 6-3. Alekhine refused to play a return match, even though doing so had been a precondition of the match. Throughout Alekhine's first tenure as champion, 1927 to 1935, he refused to play in the same tournaments as Capablanca. After Capablanca lost the title, he won a number of strong tournaments, hoping that his showing would force Alekhine to grant him a rematch, but it was not to be. Once a champion, always a champion. In 1934, Capablanca resumed serious play. Capablanca had renewed hopes of regaining his title, and he won Moscow 1936, ahead of Botvinnik and Lesker. Then he tied with Botvinnik in the Super Tournament of Nottingham 1936, ahead of Uwa, Lesker, Alekhine, and the leading young players Rubin Fine, Samuel Reshevsky, avenging a defeat here, and Solo Flower. This was Capablanca's first game with Alekhine since their great match, and the Cuban did not miss his chance to avenge that defeat. Capablanca won Paris 1938 with 8 of 10. But then his health took a turn for the worse. He suffered a small stroke during the Avro tournament of 1938, and had the worst result of his career, 7th out of 8. But even at this stage of his career he was capable of producing strong results. In the 1939 Chess Olympiad in Buenos Aires, he made the best score on top board for Cuba, ahead of Alekhine and Paul Keres. More drama was missed because he refused to play Alekhine in Cuba's match with France. Personal life. In December 1921 he married Gloria Simone Butecourt. They had a son, José Raúl in 1923 and a daughter, Gloria in 1925. According to Capablanca's second wife, Olga, his first marriage broke down fairly soon, and he and Gloria had affairs. Both his parents died during his reign, his father in 1923 and mother in 1926. In 1934, he had begun dating Olga Chagodayev, whom he married in 1938, and she inspired him to play again. On March 7, 1942, he was happily kibitzing a Skittles game at the Manhattan Chess Club in New York when he collapsed from a stroke. He was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he died the next morning. Remarkably, the Cuban's great rival, German-born Emanuel Lesker, had died in that very hospital only a year earlier. Interesting facts. Capablanca refused to study chess and he never read chess books or studied chess openings. Becoming the world champion despite this is evidence that he was possibly one of the greatest natural chess players that ever lived. In his entire chess career, Capablanca suffered fewer than 40 losses in serious games. He was undefeated for over 8 years of active, world-class competition, from February 10, 1916, when he lost from a superior position against Oscar Chajes, to March 21, 1924, when he lost to Richard Reddy in the New York International Tournament. This was an unbeaten streak of 63 games, and included a strong London tournament of 1922, as well as the World Championship match against Lesker. That prescribed him nickname the Human Chess Machine. His other nickname was Mozart of Chess. In 1925 Capablanca gave a simultaneous exhibition in Leningrad and won every game but one, a loss against 14-year-old Mikhail Botvinnik, future world champion, whom he predicted, "One day you'll be champion." Other greats about Capablanca. His bitter rival Alexander Alekhine wrote in a tribute to Capablanca, "Capablanca was snatched from the chess world much too soon. With his death, we have lost a very great chess genius whose like we shall never see again." Emanuel Lesker once said, "I have known many chess players, but only one chess genius, Capablanca." Anatoly Karpov, "The ideal in chess can only be a collective image, but in my opinion, it is Capablanca who came closest to that image." Miguel Najdorf, "Me and Botvinnik, we played with almost all world champions, and both agree, Capablanca is the best of all times."